This is the rear hatch door latch out of my 95 Pathfinder. There's a pretty common problem with them where the light in the cargo area won't shut off. Mine wouldn't turn on, which I thought was odd, until I opened up the back and realized that somebody just unplugged the bastard, because it had the problem that the rest of them have, which is that the little sensor inside that tells if it's shut has failed. This is where the red wire goes. It slides. The screwdriver is the latch. It goes in, and then it's supposed to push that thing down. But how well you can see it, the thing it's supposed to push down is just like a piece of, might have been rubber once. It's sort of shaped like that inside. It's supposed to push down on. The more I'm looking at this thing, the more I'm noticing how loose this bit is. Unfortunately, the whole thing is pinned together, so I would have to drill it apart to disassemble it. So, I finally got the mechanism out by bending the piss out of it. If you can see, it's got a pretty good wear mark there. And it's got a pretty big hole here, so there's a lot of play in it. That would have been on there. And then as the thing pushed in, it was supposed to push back. Here's the solution I came up with. There's another switch right here for the tire carrier. And it has a light green wire, which goes underneath and then comes out of the quarter panel. It's got a little bung down there, and then it comes up and through. I've spliced into it, and then I've brought it up to here, where there's a red and white wire in this harness. That wire comes in from tailgate. This is the plug that the used to be in the hatch mech. It's got a black wire, which is just ground, and then it's got the red and white wire, red with a white stripe, which is the switched ground for the light. And then the green from this is just switched ground for the warning light on the dashboard. Now it works on the rear hatch switch. Perfect. Alright, so I got the wire all soldered up, wrapped up in sticky tape, and ready to throw the panel back on it. So just when I thought I had this buttoned up, I don't. The tire carrier light is on. Key is not in the ignition. Put the key in the ignition, and it turns off. So that's not helpful. It only does that when it's set to automatic. Set it to on or off, it doesn't do that. I figured out why. It's a rough circuit diagram. I've got what I assume is ground, which the carrier switch ties into. And then that goes, on one side it just goes straight to the dash light, and then probably some kind of voltage regulator or something like that in the dash. So it goes to that. And that was working fine. And then I added this, which goes to the light in the back and then to an unswitched positive. It also goes to something, I don't know what it is, but I tried cutting that and it didn't change anything, so I think I can rule that one out, and I should probably fix that so I don't have one more thing to worry about being wrong later. So what I think is happening is that when the ignition is off, this is becoming a relative ground of this regulator. And it's actually feeding current backwards through and making the bulb light up. You might say, why doesn't the bulb in the back light up? Well, this dash light bulb is a tiny motherfucker, and it's got not a whole lot of draw. Very little amps get through it. It's got probably a fairly high resistance. This one takes a lot of amps and has a fairly low resistance, but amperage in a circuit is the same all the way through. So this is the bottleneck. This one lights up just fine, but this one doesn't get enough juice to light up. What I'm thinking is I'm going to try and throw a diode in here to keep it so that current can only flow that way and it can't backflow. So I've got, let's see, what is it here? 5402. Have not looked up the spec sheet, but I'm just going to try cutting the green wire after the splice, hooking it in, seeing what happens. Gave that bitch a diode. Bitches love diodes. No tire carrier light. Automatic dome light. Thanks to one diode.